Hello, everyone, and welcome to Snap Take. This is Glazer of Snap Judgments, the official podcast of Marvel Snap Zone. And today we have two top 20 decks for you, some major climber decks, and so much more, including top player reviews for the newest card in Marvel Snap, Bruce Banner. We're going to begin with a Comey's deck. Comey's is an Italian player, the current Marvel Snap World Champion. This is his mill deck. It's an archetype he's always really liked, one that I personally significantly struggle with, but he has climbed into the top 10 and is currently sitting around 12 on the Infinite Leaderboard with this very list. You can find Comey's on Twitter at twitter.com/Comey's01. He does not stream. The only real replaceable card here is Null, who could be Death. A cheap Death is extremely powerful in this list. Misery, Fenris, US Agent, Gladiator, and Zemo are required. US Agent is the closest thing to a replaceable card where you could try just a solid 2-drop like Mirage or something in that spot if you felt like you absolutely had to. But generally speaking, Gladiator goes with Fenris, Zemo and Gladiator are the mill package, and Misery is what's really taken mill back into the meta. So those cards are very non-negotiable. US Agent is just so good in the meta right now, especially with Doom 2099 everywhere, that he's very hard to do without. He's going to be one of the best buys in Marvel Snap currently. This deck is again top 15 right now. I believe it is currently, as a recording, around rank 12. Turn 1, you want to play Yondu. Turn 2 is Hood, unless you have both Hood and Yondu and you don't have Fenris or Cable, i.e., you can play Hood and then you can turn 2 go Demon Yondu. Turn 2, generally speaking, you want Fenris or Cable. Cable can be above Fenris here if you have the full mill out combo. Like if you can go Yondu, Cable, Gladiator, different lane, Agony, you've now milled them out successfully and, just go to town at that point. Like, you should probably snap. But if not, Fenris is very often the right play, especially if you're going to go Fenris into Gladiator. Gladiator is generally speaking better than a 2+1. This is a good spot for that Fenris plus a demon, Fenris plus a Hood or a Yondu. Or you can play Zemo. I tend to prefer to save Zemo until turn 5 when I play Mill, but Zemo is fine on 3 again if you're getting a full Mill out, much like with the Gladiator. If you can play Zemo in a different lane and then Agony on the Yondu and Cable are going to win the game, you should probably do that. Turn 4 is Misery. Sometimes turn 4 is just another Mill play. Sometimes it's a 3+1 or a 2+2. This is a reasonable spot to do Fenris and US Agent, for example. Turn 5, you want Zemo and Fenris or Misery and Hood. One of those two is generally your goal. If they've left a Shang target naked, feel free to take that out as well. Turn 6 is either Shang and Demons, or you can just drop Null. And you'll note I didn't explain Magic on this. Magic just sort of fits in on 3, 4, or 5 whenever it makes sense to. Killmonger is a tech card whenever it makes sense to get rid of a Hood or get rid of a Yondu and power up your Null. That's the use of those cards. They are not specific to turns. They are just extra resources that you have in your deck that make you more effective at winning games. I am going to dedicate myself relatively soon to getting really good at Mill. The best Mill players are often at the top of the Infinite Leaderboard. Players like Comey's, players like Den, players like Ava. It's not an archetype I am especially personally wonderful with, but it is one I plan to get good with because one of the things I do in this content is try and master every deck so that I can best explain them all. Which is one reason I think you should hit that sub button as we try for 25,000 subs in 2025 by bringing you a deck, excuse me, 3 decks every single day here on the channel, along with the best giveaways in Marvel Snap. This is the last video that we are giving away Galacta in. So all you have to do is sub, like, and then later this video, I'll tell you to leave a comment. That will enter you to win a season pass of Galacta. Next week, we are kicking off our Iron Patriot giveaway. We give away 5 before the start of the new season to get our most loyal fans the pass before we open it up to fundamentally everyone, because in the new season we get all the new people checking us out. So if you're looking for a free season pass, this is the place for you. Make sure you hit that sub button, ring that notification bell. Our next deck is Roram's Luna Clog, and this is the thumbnail deck. If you looked at that thumbnail, you should see how you should have seen White Widow and been like, yeah, that's not meta. Well, it turns out this deck can compete at the top of the Infinite Leaderboard. Ryan sent it to me. He says he's been absolutely crushing with this, and then I got the stats for it. And he has been absolutely crushing with this. He is currently, again, in the top 20 rank as Pixel Guy, if you'd like to check him out on the Infinite Leaderboard. This list is absolutely awesome. It's sort of a hybrid of two different decks. It's running both like a Clog and a Galacta Thena mid-range shell, which in combination is extraordinarily powerful. You can find Roram at twitch.tv/RoramPlays. Please do check him out. Excellent person, excellent streamer, really, really great player. This deck needs Kate, Widow, Red Guardian, Galacta, and Cannonball. If you are missing Galacta, usually you could replace that with whatchamacallit. With Gwenpool, but you can't really do that in a deck that's running Green Goblin and a deck that wants to be able to send over a acid arrow, etc. So you're kind of stuck with Galacta. Cannonball is important, but a lot of people have Cannonball from when he was one of the best cards in the game. Red Guardian, White Widow, and Kate Bishop. So if you've been had that White Widow for a while, that's collecting dust. This is the deck for you. If you don't have Thena, you can run Angela, and if you don't have Luna, you can run Hope. I know that's another high series card. Sorry. Hope does double duty here. She offers you Clog for a turn, and she offers you extra energy, both of which are very important. Again, the Pixel Enjoyer is top 20, and this deck went 14 and 6 plus 24 cubes. This is a real list. I have this built in my game currently because it's an exciting and powerful list. Turn 1, you want Kitty. Turn 2, you want Kate over Widow. And you're only widowing if you have Red Guardian or Armor, otherwise you'll save Widow, and you can feel free to drop Thena. Turn 3, Red Guardian or Armor for Widow. You can drop Green Goblin, Thena and a 1, or if you played Thena already, Widow and a 1, or you can just drop Luna and start to get a clog going. It's worth remembering that if you went White Widow into um, White Widow into blah, 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 lost the work card Luna, you can then armor that lane and play Thena and get just a ton of power, and you've probably won that lane. It's really good. You can also go to Tanya and armor in that lane to almost guaranteed lock it up. There's a ton of ways to lock up that lane at that point. Or you can just drop frickin' Galacta, because Galacta is, again, one of the best cards in the game. If you have that extra energy, Galacta plus a 1 is very, very strong. That 1 is fairly often going to be Kitty, but sometimes it'll be Titania. Turn 5, you want Clog cards, whatever Clog cards you have left, whatever you haven't played. This is a really good time to Red Guardian something. This is a really good time to get that armor down if you couldn't, or that Thena down if you couldn't. Turn 6, Cannonball Plus, and then you win. This list is beautiful. It is incredibly strong, incredibly consistent. The Clog is great. The scaling is great. Thena and Galacta are just top-notch scaling. This is a list that, if you like winning cubes, you should strongly consider playing in Marvel Snap. This is one of our get in at the ground floor list. I fully expect within a week or so this deck to be abso-freaking-lutely everywhere. And now it is time for our top player thoughts for Bruce Banner. We're going to begin with the aforementioned Roram, who says skipping energy is a losing strategy in Marvel Snap, and that 25% is too low to be meaningful enough to make it worthwhile. I would personally skip this card if you're tight on resources. Yep, that. Do what Roram said. Space says this is a pretty fun card. He likes the mind games, but you can't ever really justify it being included over other cards as it currently stands. There are just too many good twos. Space says what Aber says in way more words. Aber says this is a bad card, but it fits in only one archetype. Comey says it's a mid card, not so bad um, as people think, but not strong. 25% is just too low. Johnson says this is garbage. W says this is pretty damn unplayable and frustrating to see at the same time. What a combo. I really like W's take. Not just unplayable, but it's really frustrating to play against or play with. Nasty combo. Makes this card a real miss. Dickens says this is probably the worst card as released in a long time. Just a boring design for a card, and I happily save keys and tokens this week. Fair enough, Dickens. Jet says so fun. That's the only positive thing. Jet is playing this in a high evo list that we'll take a look at on Sunday. It's got Phoenix Force in it with no destroy, so it's clearly a meme list, but Jet is Jet, so whatever. Ika says this is painfully bad. Toxic Soul King says it's just a fun card, overall bad design. Don't like the idea not to spend max energy for only a 25% chance. Sizer says good in Haivo, but is Haivo good? Ekmati says 35% of the time he is a 6-1. And Safety Blade, whose deck we're going to look at momentarily, says, yeah, card's not good, but also just the dumbest thing they have released in a way. And yeah, I don't think the card is as bad as people are making it out to be. If this were released into Series 3 or in high voltage, I think it'd be a pretty cool card. It's a complete joke that this is a Series 5 card. However, if you are opening for Evo and Ravona, and I think many early Series 3 players should be opening for those cards, and you get Bruce on your way, it is a playable card with those others. Is it good? No. Is it playable? Is it fun? Absolutely. I personally enjoyed the card. I think it's decent. I don't know what else to tell you. Safety brings sexy back with this list. Um, this is basically a Bruce Banner list, right? This is a way to win games with Bruce Banner and Cyclops under Professor X. Although the Professor X is the worst card in the list, Safety was able to get an Infinity ticket with it, so, and he suggests that there is something real here. You can find Safety Blade, who's one of the major and most creative and important deck builds in Marvel Snap at twitch.tv/SafetyBlade. This deck only really needs High Evolutionary, which is the kind of the point of these decks. Red Guardian can be Rogue, Nebula can be Iceman, Professor X can go for Spider-Woman, Deathstrike, Legion, whatever. Luna Snow can be Hope, Copycat can be Juggernaut, Negasonic, Gladiator, Marvel Boy, and as I'm saying this, I realize I didn't do a replacement for Bruce, and that can be Shocker, that can be Iceman, it can be any of the twos or threes that you choose. He is good in this list, but important is not a word you would actually use to describe him. Is he going to be fairly often like better than Scorpion? Probably not, y'all. Probably not. All right, so this I have a feeling we're going to be revisiting this deck when safety refines it. There is something here. Turn 1, you want Nebula over Sunspot, which is equal to Misty. Turn 2, you would like a 1, and this begins your off-turn play. So you can go Bruce on 3, or you can go Luna, or you can go Cyclops. Turn 4, if you play Luna, and you can get a Professor X one Professor X. The problem is there's a lot of move in the meta, so Professor X is very dangerous, and that's better than Cyclops. Turn 5, Professor X, or 3+1. And turn 6, Hulk. That's it. Nice and simple, right? If you Professor X a lane that you get a Hulk out or a Cyclops in, you usually win, and then Hulk is usually able to carry another lane. We've got one more list. It's not the best Phoenix Force. It's in fact a really really cool Doom 2099 Scream list that's built to steal cubes. But one last look at the safety list before we go forward. With your season pass question, nice and simple. You excited for High Voltage? High Voltage kicks off tomorrow. We're going to do 2 videos tomorrow. Tomorrow is Saturday, and we are going to do 2 videos, an extra High Voltage video to go along with the podcast that we recorded last night. If you're interested in checking out one of our streams, it'll be twitch.tv/pulseglazer. I'm also streaming here on YouTube, so make sure you don't miss that. What we're going to do on the stream that's going to happen daytime today, my son is going to hang out at my mom's for the Friday. So what we're going to do on stream is we're going to build some Series 3 players decks. A bunch of Series 3 players have sent me their collections, and I'm going to build decks. If you'd like to be one of those Series 3 players, please make sure to join our Discord. Look, we have a streaming graphic. Pretty. All right. Next up, Father Run. It's Doom is a pretty cool deck. This is a Scream Doom list. This is not the only Scream Doom 2099 list we featured, but there is a more popular one that we'll look at in a minute. And what you basically get to do with this list is you get to steal extra cubes off the difference. Father has climbed a million ranks with this, and it is a really great list. This deck needs 3 cards, Zabu, Scream, and Doom 2099. If you have Scream and Doom 2099, they are 2 of the best cards to get if your early collection. Scream has decks built around her where she's the only high series card. Doom 2099 has decks built around him where he's the only series card, although he does often want series 4 card, Zabu. Cannonball here can be Arrow or Dr. Doom proper. Yeah, that's right, this doesn't run Doom. And Cable can be something like Craven if you want. What you'd get to do with this list is you get to take advantage of not being this list. People will expect Arrow, people expect Sandman, people expect Classic Doom. And when they expect those cards, they play around them. And that gives you snap equity when you don't play those cards and instead play a more traditional Scream list and use Cannonball to win games. Fazzer got 10,000 ranks with this deck, which is, pretty damn legit, so do check it out. Turn 1, you want Zabu. Turn 2 is Scream over Cable. Turn 3, Doom 2099 over Polaris or Spidey. Turn 4, Doom 29 is still fine over Stegron or Miles in a 3. 5 is Cannonball or Stegron, sometimes Stegron in a 1 here. And then turn 6 is either Magneto or Cannonball, and then you probably win. Because Scream is insane. Glenn Jones was on our podcast like a month and a half ago, and if you don't know, that's Marvel Snap's lead designer, and the stats on Scream are equivalent to dropping a Mr. Negative. This is a through-the-roof powerful card. Combining with Doom is really effective, and being slightly off meta is one of the best ways to make sure that you're able to steal extra cubes. If you'd like to see gameplay for all these decks outside of checking out me, you can also check out the stream team. Today is Friday, so if you're not free during the day, do check out at night at 10 p.m. Eastern. The Pirate King Tuccrr will be streaming, so please do go check out the Pirate King. Questions of the day. Womp asked my favorite holiday leftovers. Um, so I generally don't like the hot food from holidays leftover. I think that turkey fresh can be really good. I think the pernil fresh can be really good, but it doesn't heat up well. The rice is always fine, but rice is just like regular leftovers. I like leftover dessert, and longtime viewers will know pumpkin pie is my jam. So that's my choice. Fables asks about a deck building guide video or podcast. Since we have so many podcasters, so many great deck builders on the podcast, and we did one of those. We actually did two of those. The first one is our one lost episode. We did an episode with Ika and Safety Blade, with Ika and Yo Woody MJ. That was just this amazing deck building guide, but the deck building guide completely disappeared. It is the only episode we completely lost ever. So unfortunately, that's not there. But we did redo it the first time Eco was on the podcast. I think we're due for another one. So I'll tell you what, Fables. Sometime in January, we'll do a deck building guide video. Just wait for it. Cool. Certain tiers support on our Patreon, and if you're interested, check out patreon.com/snapjudgments. But certain tiers come with on-air thanks. We're going to go relatively quickly because it's getting late. Thank you to Abigail Gleason, Mandatory Burnout, my Colonel Lance Leader, Irregardless, David G. Wingfield, yeah, like Glazer. Dirty Casual, Danton, LAB, Always Kind, FaThorNewman, who you should absolutely check out YouTube and Twitch, and streaming some decks from me on Saturday morning. Good Dog Gamer Inc. I am Frostman, Jet Thinking Poker, YOLO Potato, Prime Ryan, Ryan Burke, and Ryan Wood, Ryan Town, Kirtix Lee, the King of Questions, Koire, Kazushi, Archangel 3K, Black Dahlia, Pyro Froze, Pyro, the Goat Seeker, Hallowed, Quid Pro Joe, Snap Decisions, Joe. We were on Snap Decisions podcast. The audio version of that is out. Please check it out. Frat Nick, Mr. Kerfuffle, Cables, Ginger Prime. Hey, I think Cables is watching me do this live right now. Hi, Cables. Philip Rakovich, who's busy snowboarding and not watching this video. What's happening? Kenny Loggins of the Danger Zone. Rob Silverman. The Bizza. Notoriously. Black Jeebus 23. Extra C and Skippy G. Rhyming Friends. Hey, Jessica Gamble. Winner of Central League Season 1. Tommy Nyquist. The King of Bros. Brup. The Great Kazoo. Werewolf. Kevsey Hoda. Luna Chris. Corwin. John Q. Jimmy McHugh. Clam. Colonel Forbin, Yistout, 8th, Sage, Mod Supreme Models, Green Goblin, Unibot, who might be here, might not, Flam56, who definitely went to bed, Steven, Brian Kaufman, Tristan H. Martin, and Jason B. J.D. McDonaldinho, the Fuzzy Dunlop, who watched on YouTube. Hi, Fuzzy. Spectrumix, Hoot, Matt H., DJ, Mikey Hijinks, No Frickin' Flex, Ocularis, who also might be watching this live. Hey, Ocu. Mr. Craig Sterry, BG, Zodrax, the King of Canada, Den, Mad Falcon, Jonesy, Two Ties, the Great Laura Devs, the Pirate King Tuccrr, and of course Gunny T, where the T stands for. Well, that's the end of that video. Why don't you check out some other videos on either side of you? And if you're interested, you can sub just by clicking that spot in the middle of the screen. Thanks so much for watching. Peace.